The Galactic Council had always claimed to be the bastion of peace and fairness, uniting species across the universe under one harmonious banner. To most, it seemed like a noble institution, a shining example of interstellar cooperation. But Earth knew better. Since joining the Council decades ago, humans had faced constant disdain, treated as little more than a primitive species unworthy of true respect. That simmering tension finally exploded into chaos when the Council announced its so-called Great Harmony trials. One ordinary evening on Earth, every screen, every broadcast, every device was hijacked by the Council. The transmission began without warning, revealing a cold, metallic chamber where alien delegates of countless species sat in a semicircle around 10 frightened Earth children. The children, no older than 10 years, were trembling, their wide eyes filled with terror. At the center of the chamber, Councillor Varax, a towering reptilian being with scales like polished obsidian, addressed the universe. His voice was deep and resonant, vibrating with a tone of finality as he declared the children guilty of Earth's crimes against harmony. Their punishment, he proclaimed, would serve as a lesson to humanity and a warning of the Council's power. The broadcast cut to blinding light as the children screamed and then nothing. The outrage on Earth was immediate. Streets filled with protests, riots erupted, and grief-stricken parents demanded justice. The Council remained silent, unyielding, and Earth's government scrambled to negotiate, knowing full well that humanity was in no position to challenge the Council militarily. But not everyone on Earth was content to wait. In the shadows, a group known as the Lunar Initiative had been preparing for a moment like this for decades. Spearheaded by Dr. Evelyn Kane, the initiative had been working on a secret project based on ancient myths, the creation of hybrid warriors that combine human intelligence with the strength and predatory instincts of wolves. The result was the Lunar Sentinels, a group of genetically engineered werewolves, trained for combat and espionage, and designed to be Earth's ultimate weapon. As the Galactic Council convened on the distant planet of Werewolves primed to plan their next steps, an unmarked Earth ship approached undetected. Inside were 12 of the Lunar Sentinels, their senses heightened, their bodies adapted to survive alien environments. Their mission was clear: infiltrate the Council chambers, eliminate the leaders responsible for the trials, and recover any evidence of further atrocities. Dr. Kane's voice guided them over the comms, her tone steady and sharp. The werewolves descended in silence, landing on the surface of Yarrow's Prime and slipping into the shadows. The Council was in session when the Sentinels breached the chamber, their movements swift and deadly. But just as they prepared to strike, they discovered something that stopped them cold. Beneath the Council floor was a hidden chamber filled with stasis pods. Inside each pod was a human child. The same children who had been executed in the broadcast were alive, unconscious but unharmed. The execution had been a ruse, a cruel spectacle designed to force Earth into submission. The Council was using the children as hostages to manipulate humanity's leaders, ensuring they would never dare resist. The revelation changed everything. The Sentinels knew they couldn't simply destroy the Council now; they had to save the children and expose the truth. Alaric, the leader of the werewolves, relayed the discovery back to Dr. Kane, who immediately ordered an extraction. The mission became a chaotic fight for survival as the Sentinels carried the children out of the chambers, battling waves of alien guards. Despite overwhelming odds, they reached their extraction point and escaped with the children in tow. Before departing, they transmitted all the evidence they had gathered back to Earth, ensuring the entire galaxy would see the Council's deception. The fallout was immediate. The broadcast of the Council's crimes ignited a wave of rebellion across the galaxy. Oppressed species rose up, inspired by Earth's defiance and the undeniable proof of the Council's tyranny. the Council's power crumbled as its members were forced to flee or face justice. Yet amidst the victory, another shocking truth came to light: the entire stasis plot had been orchestrated with the help of a rogue faction within Earth's own leadership. These traitors had hoped to curry favor with the Council, sacrificing their own people in exchange for personal power. The Lunar Sentinels, now hailed as heroes, turned their attention back to Earth, vowing to hold the traitors accountable. The galaxy entered a new era of cooperation, free from the Council's grip, with Earth emerging as an unlikely symbol of resistance and hope. But the Sentinels remained vigilant, knowing that even in victory, threats could come from within as easily as from the stars. The Galactic Council was known for its power and authority, its decisions affecting the lives of billions across the universe. For decades, it had presented itself as a fair and just organization, tasked with maintaining peace and harmony among the stars. However, Earth, a relatively new member of the Council, often found itself at odds with its mandates. Humanity was viewed as a rebellious and primitive species, barely deserving of its place among the more advanced civilizations. Tensions escalated further when the Council accused Earth of disrupting galactic harmony, citing minor conflicts and environmental infractions as evidence of humanity's lack of discipline. But nothing could have prepared Earth for the event that would shatter its trust in the Council completely. One fateful evening, every communication device on Earth was suddenly overtaken by an emergency broadcast. The transmission was unmistakably alien, showing a vast, sterile chamber filled with Council members. Their appearances varied greatly, as some with shimmering carapaces, others with glowing, translucent skin, and a few bearing elongated, insect-like limbs. In the center of the chamber stood 10 human children, their small forms dwarfed by the cold, metallic surroundings. They were clearly terrified, their faces streaked with tears, as they huddled together under the gaze of towering alien figures. The broadcast cut to Councillor Varax, one of the most imposing figures in the room. His voice boomed through the broadcast, deep and commanding, as he addressed the billions of viewers across Earth. He declared that these children were representatives of Earth's recklessness, accused of embodying humanity's inability to adhere to the principles of interstellar harmony. According to Varax, Earth had repeatedly violated the Council's directives, and the punishment would serve as a grim example. His words carried a chilling weight, as if no argument or plea could sway the Council's decision. The children stood frozen, too young to understand the larger political theater playing out around them but old enough to sense the danger they were in. As the broadcast continued, the chamber's atmosphere grew heavier, with alien delegates watching in silence, their expressions unreadable. The sentence was carried out swiftly. Blinding light filled the room, and the children's screams echoed briefly before being cut off entirely. The broadcast ended abruptly, leaving Earth in shock. Chaos erupted across the planet. Millions of people took to the streets, demanding answers and retribution. Governments scrambled to respond, issuing formal protests to the Council, but their cries fell on deaf ears. The narrative was clear: humanity had been taught a brutal lesson, and the Council was untouchable. For days, the grief and rage of Earth dominated every corner of society. What Earth didn't know was that the entire broadcast had been an elaborate lie. The children hadn't been executed at all. The Council had staged the event, using advanced holographic technology to make it appear real. In truth, the children had been placed in stasis chambers beneath the Council's chambers, where they would remain hidden and unconscious. This ruse served a darker purpose. By faking the execution, the Council intended to instill fear in humanity, ensuring compliance with its mandates while quietly holding the children as leverage. The broadcast was carefully designed to break Earth's spirit without resorting to outright extermination, a tactic the Council had perfected over centuries with other rebellious species. Amidst the chaos and grief gripping Earth after the broadcast, a secretive organization known as the Lunar Initiative decided to act. Unlike Earth's public governments, which were caught up in diplomatic protests and helpless outrage, the initiative had been preparing for a moment like this for years. Hidden deep within Earth's remote facilities, they had been working on a controversial project, one born of desperation and ingenuity. The project involved the creation of genetically engineered beings, hybrids of humans and wolves, designed to be the ultimate warriors. Dubbed the Lunar Sentinels, these were not the werewolves of legend, mindless beasts driven by rage. Instead, they were highly intelligent, strategic, and physically enhanced beings capable of operating in hostile environments and carrying out missions no human could survive. The werewolves were a secret even Earth's leadership was unaware of, their existence known only to a select group of scientists and military operatives. Dr. Evelyn Kane, the architect of the program, believed they represented Earth's best hope for survival in a universe that had proven to be far more dangerous than humanity had anticipated. After the broadcast of the so-called executions, Dr. Kane knew it was time to activate the Sentinels. Their mission would be more than just retaliation, it would be a quest to uncover the truth behind the Council's actions and, if possible, save the children who had been taken. The Lunar Sentinels were deployed aboard a sleek, unmarked spacecraft that approached the Galactic Council's headquarters on Eros Prime under the cover of darkness. The ship remained outside the planet's detection range, and the Sentinels descended in individual pods, landing with precision in the dense forests surrounding the Council's chambers. Their enhanced senses allowed them to navigate the alien terrain effortlessly. They could smell the faint traces of metallic compounds in the air and hear the distant hum of the Council's energy grids. Every step they took was calculated, every movement silent. Infiltrating the Council's chambers required precision. The Sentinels used their heightened agility and strength to bypass security systems, climbing sheer walls and disabling alien guards with quiet, efficient strikes. Once inside, they split into teams, searching for signs of the missing children. What they discovered was beyond anything they had expected. Beneath the grand chamber where the Council convened was a hidden facility, its walls lined with glowing stasis pods. Inside each pod was one of the 10 children, their faces peaceful but eerily still. The sight confirmed the team's suspicions that the executions had been a lie. The werewolves began extracting the children from the pods, working quickly but carefully. Their advanced technology allowed them to bypass the pod's alien locks, though it required intense concentration. As they worked, alarms began to blare, and the Council's guards swarmed the facility. The Sentinels engaged the guards in a series of fierce skirmishes, using their superior strength and speed to overcome the alien forces. Each encounter was brutal, but the werewolves fought with relentless determination. They knew the mission was too important to fail, and their loyalty to Earth and to the innocent lives they were rescuing drove them forward. When the Lunar Sentinels successfully extracted the children and transmitted evidence of the Galactic Council's crimes to Earth, the galaxy erupted in shock. The carefully orchestrated broadcast of the children's supposed executions, followed by their miraculous recovery and the exposure of the Council's deception, sent ripples of outrage across countless worlds. For centuries, the Council had maintained a tight grip over the galaxy, presenting itself as the ultimate authority and arbiter of justice. Many species, particularly those on the fringes of its influence, had long harbored suspicions about the Council's true motives. However, the overwhelming fear of retaliation had always silenced any dissent. Now, with undeniable proof of its atrocities, that silence was broken. The broadcast from Earth was not just a message of defiance but also a call to action. It detailed how the Council had fabricated the executions to instill fear in humanity while secretly holding the children as leverage. The footage captured by the Sentinels revealed the hidden stasis chamber, the advanced technology used to stage the execution, and the Council's deliberations that clearly demonstrated their willingness to manipulate and oppress. This was not an isolated incident. The revelations hinted at a pattern of similar tactics used against other species in the past. The broadcast was shared across the galaxy, spreading faster than the Council could suppress it. It reached planets that had been under the Council's dominion for generations, sparking unrest among populations that had long endured exploitation and oppression. For many species, Earth's defiance was a beacon of hope. Seeing a relatively small and underestimated planet stand up against the galaxy's most powerful organization inspired others to do the same. Civilizations that had remained passive out of fear began to organize, their voices rising in unison against the Council. Protests broke out on hundreds of worlds, with citizens demanding accountability and justice. Some species, particularly those with advanced militaries, declared open rebellion, seizing Council-controlled resources and freeing occupied planets. The galaxy had become a boiling cauldron of resistance, with Earth at its center. The Galactic Council, once seen as an unshakable institution, found itself unable to contain the growing rebellion. Its forces were spread too thin, its authority crumbling under the weight of public outrage. Delegates from species that had once staunchly supported the Council began to defect, unwilling to associate themselves with an organization so thoroughly discredited. The Council chambers, once a symbol of unity and power, became a battleground as factions within the Council turned on each other, some seeking to salvage their reputations while others clung to the old order. On Earth, the fallout from the broadcast solidified humanity's role as a symbol of resistance. Despite their initial vulnerability, humans had proven they were not to be underestimated. The Lunar Sentinels, though still operating in the shadows, were celebrated as heroes, their actions not only saving innocent lives but also exposing the rot at the heart of the Galactic Council. Humanity's courage and ingenuity had sparked a movement that was impossible to stop, reshaping the balance of power across the galaxy.